Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, we are talking about aura anomalies, all the quirky little ways your aura shifts to accommodate for societal programming. And some of these are pretty unusual. And first, hey, Scotty.
Hey guys, you gave me the list. I think I have 6 down here, and the first one's very interesting. It says Christmas tree guys.
Yes,
So
I haven't talked about that before.
Okay, yeah, so I'm kind of curious about that. But I was thinking before, that reminds me, I was saying before we get into this, we have to, I mean, I know it's early. It's only, what is this, May now.
Yeah.
But the Christmas exchange.
Yes, our Christmas exchange.
Yes, it's a big event.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of hoopla surrounding it. And this year is my year to pick.
There's a lot of controversy last year.
There was a lot of controversy, but at the end of the day, we gave you the victory.
Yes.
You know, it's contested.
It was contested.
But you are the victor.
It was contested.
And thus, as the new rule has been put in place, the loser, that's me, the loser, Victor Blue, gets to decide next year's contest.
Right.
Okay. So I was thinking, I had an idea. All right, go with me on this. See if you like this idea. We don't have to do this, but...
Well, we have to back it up because some people might not know what our Christmas exchange is.
All right, explain the Christmas exchange.
Christmas exchange is every year, Scott and I, and you all participate, set a limit, set a budget, and we have to get each other something under a theme. It's a themed gift, and we open it up to the children, and then all of you to decide who the winner is.
Okay. So I was thinking for this year's theme, something that you buy. Now, I've been on a huge QVC and David kick.
You have been.
Yes. I am admitting this. Okay. I'm not proud of it, but I've been watching In the Kitchen with David. I haven't bought anything yet.
Yeah.
If you listen to prior episodes, I have not bought anything yet. I still haven't bought anything.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about buying something.
Yes.
And what better way to do it than the Christmas exchange?
Yes, this is your idea. Okay.
So I think it would be you have to buy something off of In the Kitchen with David.
Okay.
That's it. One item. Maybe we have to raise the budget because some of those things are a little overpriced. And that's it. And then we decide, we put it to the kids. And Mr. Michaela spiritual family, and we decide who's the winner.
All right, I love it. I love it. In the Kitchen with David is a great show on QVC, and I'm going to get you the pot stickers.
Well, don't tell me. You can't tell me. Yeah.
I just want somebody to give me the pot stickers, so I might just give
of the Junior's cheesecake. I saw that the other day. It looked real good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's so many good things, and of course, and you know what? I think in this year we keep Mrs. Prindables
off the list.
No, on the list.
Oh, it's on the list.
So you can go with Mrs. Prindables.
Yes, because we've decided that's like the quintessential holiday gift is the Mrs. Prindables.
Unless
apples.
You're a shut-in like us, you have no idea what we're talking about.
No, you have no clue.
But my favorite, and I just want to add this here, and I know we're going to get going here. My favorite part of the show of In the Kitchen with David, and if you haven't watched it, is when he has a product, he shows the product and then he shows all the colors of it. Like, we have it in the blue.
Yes.
We have it in the gray. We have it in the steel, the black. So that's my favorite part of when he explains a product. So I'm going to explain today's episode in the way David would do it.
Okay. I love that.
So we have aura anomalies coming up. You're gonna talk about this in a second. First, we have the Christmas tree guys.
Yes.
I'm gonna do that one first. Then we have the sparkles, like yellow sparkle, pink sparkle, purple sparkle.
There's only 1,000 of those left. They always say that.
And you only have 2 hours left to buy it.
When the show's over, the deal's over.
No one's going to get these jokes. We have it in the wearing colors. Very popular.
Wearing colors. Yeah. Air is the enemy of food.
Yeah.
I am quoting David from QVC, you guys.
We have it in the speaking color, speaking yellow. We have it in the speaking green. We have it in the speaking red.
Okay.
Very, very good. We have it in the I told you so yellow. Interesting. And we have it in the empaths wearing logic colors.
Okay.
Very popular. Very, very popular.
All right. Well, let's get into it right now. If you've been listening to the show, you know that my 3 cats are everything to me. Rocky, Dusty, and Binks. I love them, and I truly believe happy cat, happy life. I'm a cat person, okay? And this podcast is sponsored by Smalls. If you're a listener of the show, you know that all my babies, my fur babies, eat Smalls, and they can't live without it. Smalls cat food is a protein-packed recipe made with preservative-free ingredients. I mean, you'd find it in your fridge. It's delivered right to your door. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality. I love Smalls because before when I was just feeding them burnt kibble, they were throwing up a lot. They didn't seem to have as much energy. Now their fur looks great. The kitty litter smells a lot less, and they are not throwing up. They just feel and look healthier. And they also ask me for the Smalls. They know where it is. They sit around the fridge and they meow at me and they look at me. They expect it. They love it. Smalls was started back in 2017 by a couple of guys just home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. And a few short years later, they've served millions of meals to cat across the US. After making the switch to Smalls, 90% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. I mean, that's such a big deal. Now is the time to make that switch to Smalls. Head to smalls.com/KYA and use promo code KYA at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code KYA for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code KYA for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Today, I wanted to talk about aura anomalies. These are things that I see them and then I start creating a pattern of how they come about, and then I try to tell you all so you can notice it in your own life if it's something that's going on. And because I'm doing right now the What's My Aura workshop, I have such a wealth of information on these threads because I'm looking at a bunch of pictures and saying what I see. So this is what inspired this podcast episode today. I wanted to talk about some aura anomalies that I've mentioned here and there throughout all these episodes, but I thought let's stick these in a dedicated episode to just a couple of the ones that are a little niche with what I see, and I've had to kind of create my own language to describe them. I'm going to talk about something I call Christmas tree guys, aura sparkles, what wearing colors means, how you can speak in aura language, how double empaths can wear logic colors, and what is I told you so yellow, because we need a review on that. So we do talk a lot about what I call inauthentic auras on the podcast. I have a couple episodes dedicated to that. I talk about it all the time, but basically in a nutshell, you have an energy signature, okay? It's authentic to you. It is how you make decisions that align to you best. And the closer you are to understanding your authentic energy, the better you can make choices that work for you in your life in all areas. I mean, that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do here on the podcast, to get you to just ask yourself these questions, get yourself knowing yourself better and separating yourself from who you think you are, who you were told you are, and get yourself closer to who you really are, your authentic self. And you can call that an energy signature or an aura. You can just call it your energy bubble, your personality, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're talking about. But sometimes I'll see people wearing what I call inauthentic auras. That is what we tend to do, and we all have done it at some point. We tend to do this when we don't feel like we can live life successfully on our own. And that usually has a lot to do with the 3D world. What is the 3D world? The 3D world is that material world. That is everything that's the rat race. Okay. So that's where you're working. That's where you're making money. That's where you're out in the world just trying to survive. It is the programmed society. It's the way things work. It is the machine. Okay. That's the 3D world. You watch the news, there's war and fear and famine and hunger, and that's 3D world stuff. Money is really important in the 3D world versus the 5D world. That is where your authentic self lives. Okay. That's the spiritual parts of yourself. That's love. That's empathy. That's compassion. That's passion. Those are the vibrations which we seek on an emotional level. And when we wear inauthentic colors, it's usually because we don't feel like we can make it as we are. We can't survive as we are. And we talk about that a lot on here. And some of these aura anomalies are because of the 3D world affecting our aura. So there's so many things that can affect your aura. And we've, just 2 episodes. If you want to talk more, hear me talk more about how gender norms can affect your aura. I mean, women, men, how we deal with societal labels of what those words mean upon us and how it affects us. You can listen to episode 115. And if you want to hear about how personal trauma affects your aura, that's episode 172, because there's a lot of things which can affect your aura, which is societal, race, culture, geography, religion, socioeconomic status, gender, of course, sexual preference, so many oppressions from society, just the way that they basically sucker punch you energetically, and how you hide parts of yourself or put parts of yourself away, or you really internalize beliefs because of the messages you're getting day in and day out from society. And it can be kind of like you can't beat them. If you can't beat them, join them. So you can start believing things about yourself that aren't true. They're just programming from society, and that just gets you away from your authentic self. So these things do affect us and can cause us to have little aura rips and tears, or aura scars, or these little aura anomalies, which I'm talking about today. So let's start with Christmas tree, guys. I have been saying this to myself in my head. I just call this type of pattern I see as, oh, it's a Christmas tree guy. It's a Christmas tree guy. It's a Christmas tree guy. What is that? That is a man who wears red and green, okay, Christmas tree, at the same time, but they're not red and green. They're like either one or the other, but they're definitely not both, but they're wearing both very convincingly. But they have like a blue in the middle. Sometimes it's purple. Most of the times it's blue, but the blue in the middle is kind of like, it needs help. it needs a little TLC. So I call them Christmas tree guys, and I'll tell you how they happen. What happens is it's about how men, what's up with men's auras is what happens. So backing it up a little bit, hey, it's May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. Did you know that? So according to the National Institute of Mental Health, men are less likely to be treated for mental health disorders than women, and they are more likely to die by suicide than women. Translation: the 3D world tells men there's just not a safe space for you to connect to your emotions. This is where the Christmas tree guy thing gets heavy. I mean, we're all affected by society, of course, but the Christmas tree guy is something I see because men are putting on this aura shield to go out and survive the way society tells them a man needs to survive. Yes, it is a man's world. I live in that. I understand that 100%. But here's the deal. It's a man's world only if you like and subscribe to the 3D definition of what a man is. And I'm telling you right now, none of them do. They are all trying to fit in to that 3D definition of what a man is. And that isn't authentic for most guys, because a 3D definition of what a man is does not include a safe space to connect to your empath colors, or to just connecting to emotion. There's a lot of pushing men out of their own personal connection to their emotions, and instead moving them into more predetermined societal expectations of, you're a leader, you're a boss, you make money, whatever your job is, that's your identity. Your life purpose is to succeed. By the way, success is not anything except how much is in your bank account and what you're driving, and, how much you're winning, or how much people respect you. So that tends to be what they latch onto, and they feel like they have to latch onto that in order to survive. So when I see Christmas tree guys, what I see is men who are wearing both of those colors because red and green are the colors that society has deemed acceptable for men to wear. So auras aren't gendered at all. Auras are just energy around you. By the way, if you're a red or a green woman, it's really hard because you are interpreted as too masculine, and society has like opposite ideas for what women are supposed to be. Again, back to the gender norm episode, you can listen to that. But with men, red and green are like the preferable energies because the 3D amplifications of some of their properties is what, is a modern day, what that is needed. So red, for example, aggressive, assertive, boss, strong, sometimes aggressive, green, smart, handy, visionary, a little emotionally disconnected. These are the things that the 3D world has defined as what a man is. So a lot of jobs too are usually red and green jobs. So I'll see like a green guy doing a red thing, and so he's wearing the Christmas tree aura. So like, let's say he's an engineer, but he has to manage other engineers. Okay, that's like a green guy engineer doing a red guy thing, managing. Or let's say he's selling something green. He's doing a green thing in a red way. So he's like selling medical equipment sales. So, you got to know a lot about what you're selling. And then you also got to like sell it, which is a red thing. And knowing a lot about it would be the green thing. So there's, it's very narrow, the scope of where men feel that they can go. And then also all of the social stuff, sports, Home Depot, like a lot of the 3D cultural ideas that this is how you're a guy, from a very young age, they're shoved into these little spaces. And it's like, okay, to fit in, the message is to fit in, be like that. So they get cut and molded and crafted and sculpted. And then they're sitting there and they're, 35 years old and they are Christmas tree guys. Not everyone. I'm just saying I just see this a lot in our culture, the Christmas tree guy thing. For me, it's just like a byproduct of they're just trying really hard to make it. And you'll know it's a Christmas tree guy because, when you are around them, like you're like, well, this is the real you. You know who they actually are, but they go out and have to be somebody else. The majority of our listeners here are women, but we all have men in our lives that we love. And when I talk to you, you're very concerned about your sons and your brothers and your fathers and your husbands and your partners and your friends. You're concerned about the men in your life. And I know a lot of you bring them to the podcast or talk to them about auras or bring them to therapy or get them to, let's talk, let's grow. You're trying to nurture them. What you're really trying to do is give them a respite from the 3D idea that connecting to their emotion makes them susceptible to being discarded by society and not being able to survive. Like you're trying to give them a safe space to connect with their authentic selves. That's what you're trying to do. And what's really sad too, like with, okay, so just back to the aura thing. A lot of guys do not connect to how I describe the empath colors. So the empath colors are purple, blue, indigo, turquoise. So let's take blue, for example. When I've personified blue in all the work that I do, I say, okay, blues are compassionate, they're sensitive, they like to help people, and then I'll say funny things like they're really concerned if you ate or not, or if you're cold, or, if you're having a good time at the party. So when men read those descriptions, 9 times out of 10, I don't connect to that. That's not me. I don't care, blah, 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 because they have been so conditioned to feel a feeling and quickly run away from that. And they're blue as blue can be, or purple or indigo or turquoise. They sure are. But what's happening is they're not sitting in it long enough to connect to it because they almost have this fear of connecting too much to, hey, wait a second, I feel someone else's discomfort, or I sense someone else's pain, or I'm upset that someone else is upset. Like they haven't been taught or given a lot of room to sit in feelings, because feelings are uncomfortable, especially when they're not your own, as you all understand. So they just don't have a lot of the tools. And here's the deal. I'll read a lot of you who have these beautiful kids, these lovely little boys, and they all connect I'll say, hey, your kid's really sensitive. Oh yeah, that's him. Totally. Yeah. So I see lots of indigo blue, turquoise purple little boys who act the way I describe them. But what happens between 8 and 40? Well, that would be society. And fast forward to sometimes I'll see something, like I said, called a Christmas tree guy. And these are just guys who are just like, we're doing it. We're tired, but we're doing it. And here we are. And usually they're very invested in family and they're putting on their little Christmas tree colors to contribute. This is what I do. I work, I come home, and that's what I'm doing it for. So a lot of these guys, they don't live to work, they work to live. So they're doing it because they love the people around them. And they're just getting it done. And they're okay. And what's funny is with the Christmas tree guys, like if I'm doing a full reading with somebody and I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas tree guy, here, give me like a bunch of other pictures of him. If I see him, like, let's say in another situation, it's like, well, this was him on our summer road trip last year. And it's like, oh, he's red blue. There's no green in this picture. Or this is us at our camping grounds. This is his property. He's usually really happy there. I'll see like a big old green guy. I'm like, oh, he's green. There's no red there. When they're in their joy places, they're more themselves, which you can feel when you know these people because they're just like a little bit more happier, lighter feeling. And that's what we're doing. We're just trying to provide places for them to connect to their emotions and not feel like that is going to take away from their ability to survive in this 3D world. When we come back, I'm going to talk about sparkles. Do you ever notice how those subscriptions that you subscribe to get real sneaky? They'll like up your subscription price and you're like, hey, wait a second. You don't even realize it. That happened to me. And I probably wouldn't have noticed for a couple months, except Rocket Money alerted me right away. I've always struggled with subscriptions, canceling them on time, forgetting about them, realizing I even had them. And before I started using Rocket Money, I thought I had just a couple subscriptions. I could not believe it when they showed me I was paying for way more subscriptions each month than I thought. Between streaming services, fitness apps, delivery services, it is like never ending. But thanks to Rocket Money, I'm no longer wasting money on the ones I forgot about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting your money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/KYA. That's rocketmoney.com/KYA. rocketmoney.com/KYA. Christmas tree guys took a lot of time to explain, but the rest of them aren't going to take that long. Let's start with sparkles. Sparkles are an aura anomaly in like a nice way, actually. So I'll see sparkles for lots of different reasons. Probably, well, first of all, they do look like sparkles. So I'll look at someone's aura and then I'll just see like little shiny bits. And sometimes it's your authentic color. So it's like, oh, you're yellow, purple, but the yellow's real sparkly. I'll say something like that. When I say sparkles, what it means is an amplification of all the good parts of your energy. So if you're yellow and I see like sparkly yellow, it's like you're really curious. So it's like the fun stuff, or you're really focused on self-improvement, or you're really looking around, like it's like a renewal. Or if I see sparkly purple, I'm like, ooh, you got a renewal of creativity in you, or really being intuitive. You're really listening to that. It's really awakened. It's like kind of like it's like your energy's waking up when there's a sparkle. Or sometimes I'll see people with, maybe they're two colors, but then they have and with green sparkles. It's not that it's inauthentic. Sometimes they're like bringing in a color to they're kind of bringing in a color to understand something better, or they're working on something and getting curious about it. It's inspiration. So sparkles equal inspired. That's what sparkles are. Once you're sparkly, you're not always sparkly. And if you're not sparkly, you can get sparkly. It's more about when you get excited about life. And if you ever feel like you're on a high and you're doing all these new things and you're kind of going after things you're passionate about, think about how that can relate back to some aura colors. And you probably have a sparkly aura color at that time. If you're not sparkly, it doesn't mean that's bad. And if you were sparkly and you lose it, that's not bad. It's just kind of, it's like a little inspired. It's like an inspired thing. It's kind of like, that's what it is. It's like an inspiration. Wearing your partner's colors. So I saw this a lot in the What's My Aura workshop. When you're in a partnership, married or just together a long time or whatever, sometimes I'll see you just wear your partner's colors, and it's not inauthentic. It just means that you're really considerate and you think like them a lot. That's all it means. So sometimes I'll see a lot of like your partner is wearing your colors or you're wearing your partner's colors. All it means is you think like them and you take their energy into consideration when you're just living life like all the time. Like it's another filter you just let go through yourself so that you can make choices that serve both of you together. It's actually really sweet. And it means like that it's just that soul connection. So it's actually really, really nice. Also, like when this is totally off topic, but when people have been married a long time, sometimes I'll feel pain on one of you when it's your partner's pain. Usually it's just like really like couples that have been married for like 50 years or something. I'll feel like hip pain on the wife and they're like, no, her husband has it, not her. And I'm like, oh, it's so sweet. She's wearing it. It just means that you care. All right. Speaking and, back to the wearing your partner's colors. Sometimes I'll see kids wearing their parents' colors. Again, same thing. Sometimes I'll see you wearing your parents' colors still. And that's a little more annoying. Like I think if you're wearing, I can tell a lot, like if you have a purple mom, sometimes you're wearing purple, or you have a yellow mom, you're wearing yellow. If you have a green dad, you're wearing green. That just means that they did a very solid job of making you learn how they think about things. And it's kind of hard to shake it. Not exactly inauthentic, more just kind of like an extra lens that you have in your life that you can use as a tool. It can be a good thing because a lot of times I'll see, especially if you have a parent who, you're not that aura color. Let's say you had a green dad, okay, but you're purple blue. I'll see you like to work with greens. Maybe you're working in a lab or you're working with engineers, you're working with architects or something because you speak green, which brings me to the next one. Speaking in aura language. Some of you aren't that color at all, but you sure can speak. You can speak that language. So usually I will see this if you were if you were a child of a parent with a very strong aura color, like kids of yellow moms or dads, like they will go out and they can deal with the yellows. They're like, I speak yellow. Or a lot of indigo kids who had like green mom, green dad or something like that. They can speak green, or you can speak red. I can speak red because my mom is red, and like I can speak red. I'm good at speaking red. I can think like a red. My husband's red, my daughter's red. I can think like a red. I can speak red. I can deal with reds. So that's kind of just, you have an ability. It's kind of like it's like learning another language, and you have that ability. You also might be more comfortable with people, even if it's not your aura color, because you speak the aura language. You can be more comfortable in environments with all those people. Yeah. Oh, next one. Double empaths wearing red and yellow. Okay, what's a double empath? Like if your double empath means like both your colors are an empath color. So empath colors, again, being turquoise, indigo, blue, and purple. Sometimes let's say you're blue purple. Okay. And here's the thing. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's good for you. But I will see a lot of double empaths, like blue purples, wearing red. And I'll tell them like, you're blue purple. I'm not red. It's like, well, you're blue purple, but you wear red because you're constantly put in leadership positions. That's why I always say, like, go back to what motivates you. Like, do you like telling people what to do, or do you just I mean, you really got to go in and ask yourself, like, do I like telling people what to do? Do I like my opinion so much I need it to be the structure? Do I need to be the one doing it, or am I doing it because that's red, or am I doing it because I want to help other people not feel uncomfortable, or I know nobody else is going to do it, so I'll do it. Usually a lot of you blues and indigos that end up wearing red or yellow, it's because no one else is doing it. So you just absorb how to do it. And you're always the one that ends up just being pushed to the front by the rest of them. So just because you're doing something doesn't mean that is you. And just because you're good at something doesn't mean it is you. You got to investigate your motivations. But anyways, I see a lot of double empaths wearing red or yellow because they just absorb what needs to be done and then they do it. They don't really want to, but they just end up always doing it. And then again, can't beat them, join them. You can start thinking that's who you are. And that can be a problem. Finally, we need a review on I Told You So Yellow. I'm almost pretty sure I've talked about this before. It is a shade of yellow where, it's a shade of yellow where it's I told you so yellow. So it's somebody who is not able to accept reality any other way than they decide and decree that it is. Usually I'll see this with parents who have adult children. And you're like, Mom, this happened when I was 6. But this that didn't happen. You were fine. And this is how you felt. And then everything was great. So that didn't happen. Like they can't, I told you so. How reality is how I told you so it is. And they're very hard to talk to. Like if you say something, they're kind of like, no, not like they'll shut it down. They can't handle, and it doesn't always mean they're yellow, by the way. It can be them wearing that color really, really strong. And the color itself is really bright when I see it. And it just looks like they just zip it all around themselves. There's just no getting in. But how you know is they're just really defensive of your version of events. They do not want to hear your version of events. And they have no ability to validate them. So that's I told you so yellow. Which again can happen because their own insecurities. Like if I can't deal with it, it can't exist. Because I can't connect to my own emotions in dealing with the fact that maybe I made a mistake or maybe other people have different interpretations of things. Like their own insecurities, they just do not have the abilities to emotionally deal with it. So those are some aura anomalies, and we're always adding to the list around here. But one more I wanted to add, I just thought about it, is sometimes people borrow turquoise when they're learning about spiritual things. So sometimes I'll see people and, I don't know, let's say they're purple green or whatever, and they're wearing turquoise. But I know it's not theirs. It's kind of like a mist that they borrowed. But usually it's when I just started doing Reiki or I'm learning about acupuncture. I just got home from this spiritual retreat or whatever. So not everybody, but sometimes when you kind of deep dive into the woo-woo, you can pick up some turquoise for a little bit. Doesn't feel inauthentic. It feels just kind of like a borrowed energy or something while you're mingling with the fringe. When you're mingling with kind of like new ideas. And it's interesting. And that's my last aura anomaly. But yes, always adding to the list. Nothing gives me confidence like turning up my playlist and having a dance party in the kitchen with the kids. I feel happy and carefree, like everything's going my way. Well, a very close second would be Lumi Whole Body Deodorant. Unlike certain other deodorants, Lumi is powered by mandelic acid to deliver outrageous 72-hour odor control everywhere from your pits to your feet, and yes, even your privates. In fact, it was patients' concerns about private part odor that originally inspired the OBGYN who invented Lumi. Flash forward 6 years, and her game-changing whole body deodorant has now earned over 300,000 5-star reviews from people like me who love feeling confident from head to toe. I love Lumi because it's easy. It's easy and it works. I really like their deodorant wipes. They are quick in a pinch. I put them in my gym bag. I put them in the car. They're easy on the go. And I love handing them out to anybody in the family who needs a little extra boost of confidence. And you don't have to worry about them because this whole body deodorant is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. I mean, pits, under boobs, below the belt, you think about it, you can use it there. It was created by an OBGYN who saw that normal BO was just being misdiagnosed and mistreated. And it is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor up to 72 hours. It's baking soda free, it's paraben free, it's pH balanced for that safe use below the belt. And you can choose from a variety of scents that are just amazing. I love the lavender sage, but you might want to try a few of them, see what your favorite is. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes, like I was talking about. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equates to over 40% off their starter pack. Use code AURA for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code AURA at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
All right, so back to creating spaces for the men in our lives to take that time away from the 3D concept that they're not allowed to connect to their emotions, and thinking about how to create safe spaces for them to really go there in themselves. I put up this post because so many of our listeners are always, trying to get their brothers, their friends, their sons, their husbands involved or whatever. So I put up this post. I put, hey, KYA listeners, does a man in your life listen to the podcast? Question for ya. What drew him in? What are his tips for catching more male aura-splainers? Where does he listen to it? Funny stories. Have you caught him listening on his own?
Ooh.
And we got some great answers from the MMSF.
Yeah. And we're going to read some of those. And I just want to say right off the bat, the first thing I noticed was if there were guys that were listening, they mostly were green. I did not see too many reds.
Yeah, they're there. But yeah, the greens, maybe it's the system of it, the system of colors.
Maybe a little bit more open to it. Also seems like a lot of them were forced. or they were when they had it on, when the female had it on, when the partner had it on.
Yes. And all right. Well, Christina wrote, my husband will listen a bit if I have the podcast on. He just had his colors confirmed, so he's indigo, purple, and red. He is quietly stubborn. It's tricky. I wonder if connecting auras to more concrete things may help. I know your podcast and book does this. However, maybe auras, spirituality are still seen as more feelings-based, therefore feminine. It truly is a lot of emotional work, which sadly our society says isn't for men. That's exactly what I was getting at with the Christmas tree guy thing. Yeah. It's, and because... and I explained this in my spiel before, there's just not a lot of safe space. What do you think about that? About connect, when I say blue, like, cause you're blue and I talk about blues, they're nurses, they're therapists, or they feel other people's feelings as their own, or they want to help, or they want to connect, or they want to hold someone's hand. Like, does that connect to you as a man? That, you know what I mean?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, I know. Really. That's the problem. I'd have to have more like male empath color things, but it's hard because I feel like you don't sit in it, Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, I don't know. Myself, if I was going to listen to this podcast on my own, let's say I wasn't on it, no, I probably wouldn't. I would probably pass right over it.
Yeah.
And if I did listen to podcasts, I'd listen to like, I don't even...
like a sports podcast or something.
And that would be boring too for me.
You might not be a podcast listener.
I'm not a podcast listener. I'm not listening to any podcast. If it's not my own podcast, I'm not listening to it.
So well, you used to listen to talk radio when talk radio was a thing, only in the background while you were driving.
Yeah.
You did do that. But yeah, I think what I noticed with guys is a lot of men is they will feel something and immediately get uncomfortable by it. So if somebody's crying or somebody's upset, it's like solutions based. Well, here, let me just do, or like, let's just end that. Let's get over it. Let's do, I feel more, it's kind of like a move through it or a jump past it because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What do you got?
All right, let me get this one. This was from Marty C. All right, we love Marty C.
Yes.
And his wife, Bobby.
Yeah.
They came to the last event.
We sound bathed with them.
She's just so supportive.
Yes.
So supportive. So here's Marty. I started listening with my wife in the car as she listened. And again, this is what we were finding most of the time.
Yes.
She has been there from the start. She definitely has, Marty. That's
Bobby.
100% correct.
Yeah.
And I can see the positive impact that Mystic Michaela's spiritual family has had on her. I originally listened to support her, but do find it interesting. We attended the meeting in Fort Lauderdale last year, and we both enjoyed meeting everyone and looking forward to this year's event.
Aw.
He is green and blue.
He's so sweet, too.
He is so sweet. And yes, I do have to get on that. I do have to get on planning the next meetup.
You just reminded him. Marty.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Yeah, I got Kim writes, my green-blue husband will only listen if I want it on in the car. He enjoys when Scotty does history rabbit holes. And we started doing fun Christmas exchanges after hearing about yours several years ago. And he gives you all the credit for that.
Thank you.
I love the Christmas exchange thing. Yeah. I mean, even if they don't have to like, I'm not even talking about auras. I'm talking about like even like therapy or just talking about feelings or talking about what we're excited about or talking about anything. You know, I think colors, the way we do it on the podcast, can be a fun way to get guys feeling a little bit more safe talking about feelings. So instead of I feel this, you can say, well, I feel blue or whatever. You know, it's fun. It's an easy context to hang out in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can make fun of it. You can have fun with it. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that is definitely one of my goals. I do try to, put in a male perspective, make it more comfortable for a guy to listen to the show. I do try that.
Right. You try to
Again, it wouldn't be me listening, but you green blue out there, you can listen and review it. Subscribe.
The other Reds are like, we're not listening to you, Scott.
Here's the thing. I'm not even trying with those Reds. I am not trying with Reds.
You know your audience.
Reds are a pain. They're not going to listen. They're not going to, they're not going to do it. They're not going to subscribe. No. Right. Reds, forget you.
Well, we got some Reds coming up.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah, who do you have?
All right, I have Hannah O. My boyfriend is definitely a green, but could have a purple or blue secondary color. He'll listen if I have it on, just like all my other woo-woo stuff. He smiles and nods.
He's like, nice, okay.
He definitely says he likes how I light up and have a better mood when I tap into my spiritual side. And the podcast is kind of my Sunday worship sermon equivalent.
Aw,
I love that.
That's cool.
He mostly likes when Scott and MM talk about their lives and the funny reality TV rants that Scott will go on.
Somebody likes some Scott. That's good.
Yeah. I was nervous. Last week I was really nervous.
Yeah. I've never seen you that stressed.
I thought the Swifties were going to come for me.
You don't care what people think unless they're Swifties.
Yes, that's true.
I think we found the exception to your whole like Superman, you don't care what people think thing.
Well, the Swifties are scary.
The blues, they get to your blue.
Yeah, I only got like 7 or 8 like death threats, but I was predicting more. I thought I had more.
That's funny. All right, I have Raelle. She says my brothers, blue and yellow and blue and green, and my boyfriend, indigo or blue to go purple, all find it interesting and accept the concept of auras and their colors, but none of them would listen to the podcast on their own. And I'm not sure what would make them want to. They are all interested in the aliens, dimensions, quantum physics of the woo-woo, and not as interested in the colors as they have told me. I think, yeah, that's funny.
Okay.
The woo-woo stuff is fun. We have to do more paranormal episodes because I think that brings in a different dynamic.
Yeah.
And then we can trick them into knowing their colors.
Right.
Because that's the whole thing. We're just going to trick you
Exactly.
into speaking aura color. That's
Exactly.
our motivation.
Okay. Sounds like a plan to me.
Ha.
Jennifer B writes, if MM can take over my dating apps and find me a man, I'll let you know. So we got to find Jennifer a man.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I like, that's just random. Like, that had nothing to do with, she's like, I want to find a guy. You know, I love looking at dating apps because the pictures are so bad. I think I did a whole episode about this.
Yes.
Like, people use such wrong pictures. So when you see these guys, that's like a whole other, I might have to do a redo of dating apps and pictures, like with catfishing and filters, because all these guys are using filters and like what it means and stuff. I don't know.
I'll do one more since that one. Okay. Hannah W writes, my boyfriend listens with me and puts up with lots of aura talk. I mean, this all seems about like putting up with people.
Yeah.
A lot of putting up with people.
Well, I think a lot of what we do is we, like a lot of women, because we're allowed to kind of have more space in the 3D to do these things. We try to bring other people into it. So yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably like, hey, you're red. You want to know what that means?
I just don't get guys anymore.
You know?
No, I don't understand men anymore. I'm like, I understand women better now than I do men. I used to understand guys. I used to be like more of a guys guy. Now I don't get guys. What's their problem? All right. He's
such a feminist, Scott.
Yeah, I'm not going there. That's like, I mean, I already had my red rant this week on what happened in Florida, but we're not going there on this podcast. All right. He was confirmed via the workshop this week to be red, blue, and indigo. Who wears green? Wow, so 4 colors going on here. In classic red fashion, he's been bragging all week about being a quadruple aura. All right, that makes sense. He's probably leads with his red, I assume. For context, I'm tricolor, so he's excited to say that he's beating me.
That's so red.
That is so red.
That is such a red thing to say.
Yeah, Hannah
Well,
W.
she's got a Christmas tree guy there.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a Christmas tree guy then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I just explained that a lot. That's so funny. But that's such a red thing to say.
Yeah,
like, I'm beating you, I win.
That's total red.
Shelby writes, my hubby, who is red, blue to go, loves the lightheartedness and humor. I basically put it on while driving. If there's one I think he'll especially like. I think one thing that my partner would like to explore would be fear. Comes up a lot for reds, I think. Also, I think many partners worry if their partner is woo-woo, they'll leave the relationship. Yeah, yes, that is something. I'm glad she brought that up because I hear that a lot in readings. Sometimes I think, it's like scared that you won't, there's an insecurity that if you go find yourself, that will include not needing me anymore.
Okay.
But that's not just this is anything.
That
like
could be
if they go to therapy or if they get a different job, or if they start hanging out with different friends or something. Like, I think insecurities can be triggered when your partner finds their authentic self. That definitely, that would be an interesting episode.
Yeah. All right. I have Alyssa L. It's a little bit long, so I'm just going to read the best part of it. He said, it took him a while to get into it, but he loves your banter with Scotty. He also said, he was like, this guy is cool many times. So
did you add that?
No. Alyssa, right here. This guy is cool many times. Okay, no one's ever called me cool before.
Yeah.
So
the kids would just die if they read that.
Alyssa, your boyfriend is awesome. And he's cool too.
They should. I think a bromance has blossomed.
Yes.
All right, we have to end with Amy because Zach is her husband. And if you don't know Zach, that was the Mothman at our MMSF event in Florida this past, when was that? November?
Yep.
So Zach, red, blue, listens on his own. There you go, Scott.
Yeah.
He said that usually in the car, on a walk, or when he's waiting somewhere and has time to kill. Listening to me talk about it drew him in and made him more curious. Learning how others think and the reasons people react so differently, you say that all the time, is intriguing to him, and it's helped him understand me and other people in his life better. He also said, and I'll quote him here, Jumanji is my favorite subject. He does like to guess colors now, and we are constantly aura-splaining the people in our lives.
Yes. And he's a very, I know Zach, and he's a very protective red.
Yes.
He's protective over Amy, his family.
Yes.
He's a protective over our podcast.
Yeah.
So he is, he's a good guy.
He's a great guy. So there you go. There's a red that listens on his own.
Yeah. Very
I
rare.
think that's a great place to end it in our delusion.
Yes.
All right. This podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.